discussing the blood in wrestling. So I meant to make this video like a week ago, and I just did other stuff. And this was, we saw Ring of Honor Final Battle, which saw, Briscoes versus FTR, and like they were all bleeding fucking crazy. Even the referee was bleeding or bleeding, and apparently the referee was a former wrestler. And so, and then you see that picture, and that's probably gonna be in the thumbnail. And then I saw another picture. It was NXT Deadline, whatever, and someone made this referee like cough up like red blood. I don't fucking know, but it looks so stupid. It looked like goo. It was like as if they were. I don't know what the fuck happened, but it was corny and shit like that. But it was supposed to be like blood or whatever. But this is like that was like the PG version of blood. And so, when we discuss blood in wrestling, and there's people who's like, oh, the the same company that brought us crazy moments, wild moments, including blood, and all the bloody battles that they had, and everyone bleeding everywhere and shit like that. They have now conditioned a fan base that saw all this, and they're like, oh, blood is bad now. Blood is bad now. Fuck blood. It's why do you need to bleed? Why does Moxley bleed every match? Blah, blah, blah. And so now they think now that, like, oh, blood sucks and shit like that. And honestly, I don't understand why anyone would dislike blood in wrestling. Unless like it's someone like it's unsafe or whatever. And honestly, it doesn't make sense because like nowadays 2022 going into 2023, I'm sure that these guys know more about blood, right? They know more about it, and they know what to do and how to safely do these things, right? Most of the times in AEW, the person bleeds via blading, right? They do it on purpose, right? And in some instances, it just happens, like with Jon Moxley, shit like that. They get busted open the hard way. But I've never seen an instance in AEW, never heard of something where, and all the times that they've bleeding and shit, I've never seen, oh, well, this person has this because they were bleeding, or this person is fucked up because they were bleeding, or whatever the fuck. So when I see someone bleed and then nothing comes out the next day and then they get stitches or whatever the fuck, I'm at like that they're good, right? So it looks like AEW does it safely. They do this shit safely. And so my only question is, if it can be done safely, why do you care? Like, why would you be upset about blood? One of the main purposes of, when you want to do wrestling is you want to make it look realistic, right? You don't want to show the audience that you try to make it as real as possible. You try to make it like, you don't want them to see that you're barely punching your opponent. Like, you try to make it real. And if you're in a fight and you're getting beat up by some dude, you're gonna bleed, right? That's realistic, right? It's not unrealistic. It's realistic. And so my only question is like, who cares? Who cares about, like why are you getting mad about blood? Like, I'll be like, oh, rest of the year is Jon Moxley. Oh, you can't go a week without bleeding. You can't go a week without bleeding. So on and so forth. Or, bleeding every week doesn't make it special. Like, who cares? The people have now moved on to UFC. And there's gonna be blood in UFC too. Like, they want to see shit like that. They want to see cool shit, right? And so, if like, imagine you're watching AEW, you're wrestling with your friends, and you want them to get into wrestling, and then they see fucking people bleeding and shit like that, and all the crazy shit. Like, wow, this shit is cool and shit like that. So that could be another way to like, and this is what I believe, honestly. Like, what made WWE like cool back in the day was, there was cursing, and then there was And then part of, and all these, they were doing cool shit. And then one of them was, the blood, right? Like nowadays, if you watch NXT Deadline with your friend, and then you see that fucking black goo or whatever it was, red goo. I have no idea what it was, but the referee had goo coming out of his mouth or some shit. Like what is this? This is corny, bro. But if you show them like FTR match with Briscoes and shit, and they're bleeding, like, and the man is all like, that's fucking dope, bro. Like, they might be, and this is how, like, if AEW starts getting bigger and bigger, they could start shaping the way people view wrestling. Because nowadays people like, oh, wrestling's fake. They think wrestling's corny. They're like, you still watch that shit? Like, people are growing up, they're like, you still watch that shit? And so if you start doing cool shit, especially with bleeding and shit, like, you could start attracting, some newer fans, maybe like, oh wow, that shit's cool, like, let me watch this shit. You know what I mean? And I just don't get how, like I said earlier, man, I just don't get how a company that did wild shit, including bleeding, has now convinced a fan base that blood sucks. Oh, they don't need to bleed. They don't need to bleed. Maybe they don't need to bleed, but it would help. I mean, you go have war games in this fucking steel cage and there's no blood, bro. There's no blood. Imagine AEW, they have blood and guts and there's no blood. Like, what the fuck? If you're getting hit with a weapon, a steel chair, shit like that, you're not gonna bleed? You're not gonna fucking bleed, bro? Like, those matches needed blood. Yeah, they absolutely did. It would be fucking dope. It would have been dope, man. It really would. Like, if, Roman Reigns and them, if they bled in war games, that would be fucking cool, man. Like, I don't understand, like, why anyone would be resistant to blood, especially if it's done safely. If it's done safely and it's cool, like, it's done good, done well, then who cares, right? I don't understand, man. And, when I saw that Briscoes and FTR match, that shit was dope. I mean, one of the Briscoes, they were bleeding from the head immediately, bro. Like, that shit was crazy. I don't know if they cut themselves, if they bladed, or that shit was legit, because I want to say, like, it was bladed, but, like, for me, that was done too quickly. Like, whatever, man. But, like, that shit was dope. Like, that shit was amazing. It was a bloody battle. And so, yeah, man. That's what I don't get. That's what I don't understand. But I think blood has its place in wrestling, and it's such a relief, seeing it again. It really is a relief, because I hadn't seen it in years, really, and now I'm like seeing it more often, and this is the stuff that draws me towards AEW and more people to AEW. So yeah, man, I think it's nice to see blood back in wrestling, man, and I think it's cool and shit, so I don't see why anyone would have a problem with it and cry about it. It's so ridiculous. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed what you saw in this video. If you did, please let me comment down below. Right, turn that notification, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, turn that notification bell on, and I'll see you guys for the next one. Later.